Welcome to the Leadership Purpose with Dr. Robin podcast. I'm your host, Robin L. Owens, Ph.D., and this is where we dive in each week to give advice, tools, and tips for high-achieving, purpose-minded women who've written nonfiction books and want to amplify their message beyond the book. I'm a college professor, and when I'm not doing that, I am speaking, coaching, mentoring, and teaching high-achieving women who have written books how to use their books to make a bigger difference, have more impact, and purpose. Okay, let's dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Leadership Purpose with Dr. Robin podcast. I'm so glad that you're here and you take time to listen into the podcast. I really appreciate you. And because you do that, we've been ranked in the top 10% of all podcasts globally, according to Listen Notes. So thank you for helping us do that. And to continue supporting us, go ahead and rate and review and subscribe to the podcast. It would mean a lot. All right. So now today I am sharing with you not a conversation with somebody else, but just some of my own thoughts. So this is a solo episode that I wanted to share with you. It's been a while since I've done one of these solo episodes, and I just wanted to let you know what I've been doing over the past several weeks and just kind of share my thoughts about that. I think it might be helpful to you, especially if you are a consultant and you've written a book related to your business. And so that's who I've been talking to over the past several months. I've been talking to women consultants who are basically established in their work, and they've written a book related to their business, and they are thinking about ways to kind of get their message out further into the hands of others. All right. And so I just thought I'd talk to them about a project that I'm working on related to creating courses based on a book. And in my mind, I had it all figured out. Well, I think I know what I could offer as a program. But then I stopped myself and said, wait a minute, why don't you just talk to people first and see what people need or want before you go ahead? And I'm so glad I did, because I learned a lot that I wasn't thinking about before I went on what I call this listening tour. So anyway, I just wanted to share with you some of the themes that came up in those conversations in hopes that they encourage you. All right. So one question I asked was about why they wrote the book. And across the board, what came back was that the work that they had already been doing, they put in a book because the work was important to them and they really wanted their message to reach more people. So that was a common theme, the importance of their message. And the book was a way to get it out there. And I asked about the ways that they monetize their books. And, they gave several different ways that they could do that. For example, having book launches that are really big and energetic and being shared by other people. And that was something that worked well for them. Being guests on podcasts and all the things that you think about in marketing and getting the book out there. But they also said almost across the board that they didn't feel like they were monetizing the book enough. After the launch and after some of the early stage efforts, they felt like even though they had some peaks and some valleys in the sales of the book, but they don't feel like they're really monetizing the book as they thought. And although some thought, well, I know the books generally don't make lots of money unless you have a huge following, they thought it would do more than what it did. So that's something that came up. And so then that made me think about, well, say more about your efforts to get it out there. And another theme across the board was, for the most part, they're not really comfortable with marketing as it relates to the book. They do it, but some said, they don't really enjoy it. Some said they just don't have time. Some said they just don't know the best way to do it. And they seem to be held back in some ways around the marketing, or feeling held back around the marketing. So that was another thing that came up. And because they knew that I was working on a project related to creating courses based on books, some of that conversation came up as well. And the one thing that surprised me, or was brand new to my thinking was, as they thought about a course, one step before even having to learn how to do it, for them, they wondered if their book would be a good fit to be turned into a course. And that was something that I hadn't thought about. So that was a aha moment for me. They wanted to know, is their book even a good fit? So I made a note of that. And then as it relates to courses, they said things like, I don't know, I wouldn't know where to begin. I wouldn't know what it takes. Or they said things like, I feel like I don't have the expertise because I'm not a teacher, or I don't have the expertise because I'm not that good with tech. I don't consider myself a techie. And so those were some other themes that came up related to thinking about creating courses based on their books. And then back to the marketing again, it was like, how would you even market and sell something like that? So it was very interesting for me to hear. And I'm glad I took time to listen to them, because now, after listening to them, I put together a program that addresses their issues that came up in those conversations. So I put together a program that first and foremost helps them to understand if their book is ready to be turned into a course. So I created a book to course readiness assessment to help them walk through the steps to determine if the book is actually ready for a course. And in that, I also talk about what I mean by a course, because that was something else that came up. Sometimes I think it's a little bit confusing to some people because I actually teach in a university. And so when you think of course, you might think of a course in a university. But what I'm talking about is the course can take several different forms. One, it could be the form of a live workshop. It could be a series of conversations and meetings and lessons on Zoom delivered live. It could be a series of lessons put together and recorded on a platform. So there's a variety of ways of doing it. And when I say course, it's not for a university setting necessarily. It's for the organizations that they had been working with anyway to help further the work that they were doing already in those organizations. So that's what I meant by a course. And I help them understand that. So in my program that I'm putting together, we're going to go through the assessment to make sure the book is a good fit for a course. Once we have a clear understanding what a course is, and then we're going to go through the steps of actually putting together and outlining the curriculum design for their first course, their first iteration of the course. Because I know for sure if they have the book, there's ways that we can walk through the process and translate the information from the book to the course in a step-by-step process. So I'm really excited about that. And then the third part of the program I'm going to do is then help them to know how to market the course and sell the course in a way that they can do it with confidence and ease to help them get that important message that they wanted out into the hands of others, and that they can delve into it in a deeper, in a more meaningful way than they've been able to do. So I'm really excited about that. I'm almost done with it. I'm putting the finishing touches on that program. And so if you are a consultant, a woman consultant who's written a book, and you're thinking about the possibility of creating a course based on your book, but you want to know more, head on over to LinkedIn and message me, and go to @RobinL.Owens, Ph.D., @RobinL.Owens, Ph.D., and just give me a direct message and say, hey, tell me more, and I'll tell you more. And for everyone else, I'll keep you posted on what I'm continuing to learn in the program and how it shapes out. But I want to leave that out there for all who are listening now, so that you know the power that comes from listening. So speaking of listening, thank you for listening in today. And this is the end of our episode. And until next time, this is Dr. Robin. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Leadership Purpose with Dr. Robin podcast. If you enjoyed it, head on over and rate and subscribe so you never miss an episode. New episodes drop every week, and I can't wait to hang out with you again soon. Meanwhile, this is Dr. Robin signing off. See you next time.